Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Aiden. This philosophy of butterflies. Hello, my name is Ellie Higgins, and I'm a proud member of Waldwick Middle School graduating class of 2023. I would like to first start off by thanking Mayor Giordano, Mr. Myers, Mr. Clancy, and Mr. Mayor for your leadership and guidance throughout these 3 years. I would also like to thank Dr. Casarigu, Dr. Elias, Miss Angeli, and the Board of Education for overlooking our progress as students and making decisions and changes that would most benefit us. Ms. Herkler and Ms. Raffaelli for their hard work in the office and making sure that everyone and everything is always accounted for. Ms. Moore, Mr. Sussman, and the guidance department for caring so much about us students and having such a strong impact on some of our lives. Ms. Moore, Mr. Sussman, and the guidance department for caring so much about us students and having such a strong impact on some of our lives as a helping hand when we are struggling. I would also like to thank the tech department, Mr. Michaels, and the entire maintenance staff and the cafeteria staff for helping so much with middle school students and the school itself for working hard so that everything goes smoothly for us. All of my teachers throughout middle school for teaching me key lessons and offering a helping hand to anyone when they needed it. And of course, most importantly, my parents, my friends, and all of my peers for making my experience here at WMS so much more enjoyable. In 2nd or 3rd grade, we first learned about the process in which caterpillars change to butterflies. It's something you might have heard before, a very beautiful process known as metamorphosis, from egg to caterpillar to chrysalis, and eventually the butterfly. Now, I've always admired butterflies and caterpillars alike due to their beautiful colors, interesting features, and of course, the fact that they're insects that don't sting or bite. But what I most find fascinating is that the little caterpillar and the beautiful butterfly are one and the same. But this process of metamorphosis, this change, reminds me of something else. Our change here throughout middle school. It's crazy to look back and think that it's been almost 3 years since working in our Iditarod papers or conducting our science experiments from the digital science fair, doing our citizenship project with Mr. Murgia or the early humans project with Mr. Kivett, and that it's been almost 2 years since our weekly current events or cell analogy project or decorating our flags in history. But we still remember those moments like they were yesterday, because those moments, those small little moments will always be a part of us. But this, middle school, it's such a small fraction of our lives. We're going to move on and continue to grow, and we're not going to remember half the things we worry about now. But the really good things, the experiences, the knowledge, the lessons learned, well, those will always be a part of us, of our metamorphosis. Close your eyes, if you may, and think about what you were like as a 6th grader. It might not seem too different than how you think now. Now, think of anyone else here and think of how they were as a 6th grader. They've changed, haven't they? We all have. We began our metamorphosis at Waldwick as caterpillars. Whether from Traphagen or Crescent, or even another town, we all lived our best lives, made our first friends, and of course, had our first experience in a school with work, peers, friends, and teachers. Not yet in middle school, we were inching our way along to a big change. Then all of a sudden, we're ready, standing in front of a ginormous building bearing the words Waldwick Middle School. And really, starting 6th grade was like the beginning of our chrysalis. We were at the start of a big change, but thanks to the coronavirus, we missed out on a lot A lot like how once the caterpillar forms their chrysalis, they become more isolated, like how we did with COVID. Feels like ages ago, doesn't it? But still, we persevered through it. We made friends and lost them. We had bad grades and good grades. We had days where we rolled out of bed at 7:59 and grabbed our computer from beside us to log on to a Google Meet, and we had mornings waking up much earlier to make ourselves look semi-presentable for school. We remember the big things, but where was the demand? Where was the experience? It just kind of flew by. It was such a big step from elementary school, but for some reason, it wasn't exactly how we'd expected it to be. We were prepared for lockers, schedules, endless hallways, and a huge workload, but it really wasn't all that because the unfortunate virtual situation we were being put through. It just kind of flew by. School was such a small part of our life then. When 7th grade came, we began to change within our chrysalis. At first, it wasn't too bad. We were waiting, but the workload was light and everyone was back again, and we were ready for a great year, so we were content. But all of a sudden, we were hit hard with a huge workload. We had to adjust to an entirely full-on back-at-school schedule, but we were still wearing masks and had lots of restrictions, so it was like a half-normal year, but more than we'd experienced yet. It was hard, but there were also lots of positive things that we all learned that year. For starters, we were able to finally see our friends face-to-face. We had tables and desks together again. We were able to collaborate in person on assignments, and we could get help from our teachers in person. No Wi-Fi problems, no distractions, and we were finally back together again. And then began 8th grade at last. It was mostly back to normal than any of our middle school years yet. We are now fully back in school, and this began our first completely normal year as middle schoolers. We were a bit unprepared at the beginning, thinking this would be like the first 2 years. The workload was unlike anything we had yet experienced. The difficulty of most of the classes, like math, reading, science, and history, increased. Now, we were expected to do large assignments in a short amount of time, given more tests and quizzes, and went over more confusing topics. But while those assignments and projects seemed important in the moment, what was really important was the lessons learned and the key events that helped shape us even more than our chrysalis. I know, at least for me, I understood the importance of friendships and not giving up on people. I learned the importance of time management and facing consequences for your actions. I also learned how important asking for help was when it was needed and that the teachers are always there to help you. And I also realized the overwhelming importance of change. If someone had told me these would be the main things I learned in 8th grade, I would have laughed. But the more we reflect, the more we should realize how we've changed this year. Because without change, who would anyone really be? Without change, how would we be able to have butterflies? Because even if you struggled this year or had a bad experience, it changed you. And every single person here has changed into a better person than they were. Now we move on to breaking out of our chrysalis, living life as a butterfly. Some of us might be fully ready to spread our wings and take flight into high school. Some people are still testing things out before fully spreading their wings, and that's okay too. But overall, we did it. But what does this mean for us in the future? Well, I'm not really one to answer that. I don't know more than you. But something we did a lot in middle school was basing claims and forming hypotheses off of previous knowledge. So my hypothesis for what will happen in the future is that we will keep changing and growing into better human beings, becoming kinder, learning who we are, wanting to make a difference in the world. If we change this much in 3 years of middle school, why wouldn't we do the same in high school, or college, or all throughout adulthood? Butterflies still change after coming out of the chrysalis, and each of us here will keep changing even after leaving middle school. This was such a small portion of our lives, believe it or not, and we are going to go on to do so much more. I know everyone here has thought, I'm not going to miss it, at least once throughout middle school. But now, even if we don't like it right now, we're all going to be doing something in high school one day and remember how life was back in middle school. We've all had good experiences, and we've all had bad ones, but everything comes to an end, and now we have to enjoy it while we can. So coming back to today, we did it. And it's not over for us yet. We are going to go on to do so much more. We're going to keep changing. We're always going to have these memories with us. Each of our metamorphoses was different, but we all changed in our own way. Even if we're still learning the ropes with our new wings, we're all ready to fly. So cherish these next few moments, because thanks to change, nothing ever lasts forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Every day for 3 years. Every day for 3 years, students at school have been joining their peers. We've learned and we've grown, and our teachers have taught us all that we've known. And while we are happy to go someplace new, this school will be a place where we all grew. From the day we stepped through those doors, we normalized a place where we won't go anymore. We've met new people and learned new things. Now we're off to high school to see what the future brings. The simplicity of middle school will surely be missed. We are taking one step up with new teachers to assist. From the school sports, dances, classes, and more, we will soon walk out of this building once more. Thank you to our teachers, friends, staff, and peers for a great place to be every day for 3 years.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Waldwick Middle School 8th grade promotion ceremony. Before I get started, can we take a moment to recognize how fantastic these guys look? What a great job they're doing so far. To start our program, I'd like to introduce our distinguished guests up with me on the dais. First, our Board of Education President, Mr. Daniel Marrow, Sr. Board of Education Vice President, Mr. Troy Seifert. Board of Education Trustee, Mr. Andrew Fry. Board of Education Trustee, Mr. Enrico Giardina. Board of Education Trustee, Mrs. Julie Mangler. Board of Education Trustee, Mrs. Mary Beth Nappy. Our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Paul Casarico. Our Director of Curriculum Instruction and Supervision, Dr. Susan Elias. Our Mayor of Waldwick, Mr. Thomas Giordano. Assistant Principal, Mr. Michael Clancy. Assistant Principal, Athletic Director, Mr. Michael Mayer. Director of School Counseling Services, Mr. Joshua Sussman. School Counselor, Mrs. Melanie Moore. And our middle school special education teacher, Mrs. Jane Finnan. I'd also like to take a few moments to recognize and thank a number of people who have made today possible. I'd like to start by recognizing and thanking Tara Cassidy, Marcy Herkler, Kelly Turnbull, and all the 8th grade teachers in putting together the graduation booklet and preparing the students for today's promotional ceremony. I'd also like to thank Mrs. Marcy Herkler, who is the engine that makes everything drive at the middle school, and she played a major part in putting today's program together as well. Thank you, Mrs. Herkler. I'd like to recognize and thank our 8th grade teachers and staff who worked with the students throughout this school year to prepare them for this ceremony and for high school and beyond. They did a wonderful job, and they built a great rapport with the students, so thank you to our 8th grade teachers and staff. I'd also like to thank our Supervisor of Secondary Education, Mrs. Diana Angeli, for working with the teachers and students in preparing them for 8th grade and getting them ready to move on to their high school years. Thank you, Ms. Angeli. Another organization that's played a large part for us here at Waldwick Middle School is the PSO, and I'd like to thank them for the events and the picnics and the pool party and all the things that they've done for our graduates over the course of 3 years. Your programs played a large part in keeping the students involved in the middle school community and gave them many, many memorable moments. At this time, I'd like to ask Allison Giardina and Talene Romeo to come up to receive a token of our appreciation for all that they've done for us here at Waldwick Middle School. I'd like to also recognize and thank Mrs. Jane Finnan for her 33 years of service to the students of Waldwick Middle School and Junior School. She will be retiring after today. And to recognize her retirement, we'll be presenting her with this plaque, which reads, "This award is presented to Jane Dean Finnan in appreciation of your 33 years of dedication to the students of the Waldwick Public Schools." Thank you, Mrs. Finnan. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our parents for sharing your children with us for the past 3 years. They have been an absolute pleasure to have go through Waldwick Middle School. And lastly, to our 8th grade students whose hard work is what brings us all together today, thank you for all of your hard work, for all of your efforts, and the wonderful things you did for us here at Waldwick Middle School. I have to start by saying that I'm very proud of this class. During their time here at Waldwick Middle School, they have faced numerous trials, tribulations, and challenges. And in each of these situations, they have been resilient, respectful, and resourceful in how they have handled each challenge. They are truly an amazing class and will be missed here at Waldwick Middle School. To our graduates today, you have put in the hard work to make this day possible. So enjoy your day. You deserve all of the attention and praise that you will receive. It seems to me like I say this every year with each graduating class, that it's hard to believe that 3 years have gone by since this class entered Waldwick Middle School as young 6th grade students, nervous, apprehensive, and also excited about starting their middle school experience. And now they sit here today as confident and well-prepared individuals ready to take the next step in their educational careers and lives. And to truly appreciate what they have accomplished in getting to this day, we must remember what their journey was like. Their start to middle school was unlike any other. They started 6th grade in a fully remote or hybrid program. In 7th grade, they pivoted to a return to full-time in-school learning, but with safety protocols in place. And by 8th grade, they were able to return to their regular school day. And then we mixed in the impact of the construction on their daily schedule, and we thought we'd end the year with a little smoke from a Canadian forest fire. And through all of these challenges, they handled themselves with dignity and composure and exhibited a true strength of character. And as we know, tough times do not build character, they reveal it. And throughout their time here at WMS, this group's character shined through each and every day. And it was their strength of character that I relied on throughout their time here, particularly during their 8th grade year. Midway through the school year, I asked them to adjust to the impact of the construction to their daily routines. They handled the transition to the trailers in outstanding fashion. I then asked them at the end of the year to serve as an example to our 6th and 7th grade students on how to handle the bumps in the road and changes to our daily programs, as well as the move to no lockers and using backpacks instead of lockers in school. And again, they were fantastic in the approach to navigating these changes, and they certainly embraced their role as leaders too and role models for our younger students. We could not have asked for a better group of students to take on this responsibility. It is through their strong sense of character and commitment that they have made their mark and cemented their legacy here at WMS. They have been an exceptional class, and we here at WMS will miss them tremendously. As I thought about what I wanted my message to our graduates to be, I kept coming back to a movie that I have watched numerous times. I thought it had a great message, and it really resonated with me as an educator, a parent, and a coach. I also believe that its message really speaks to this class. The title of the movie is Coach Carter, and it stars Samuel L. Jackson. Jackson plays a successful inner-city businessman who wants to give back to his community, so he decides to coach the local high school basketball team. He wants his players to learn that the ticket to success is not athletics, but rather academics. So he tells his players that they must sign a contract in order to play on the team. The contract says, be a person of good character, be a good teammate, and maintain a certain GPA. The players agree, and the season gets off to a great start. The team is undefeated at 16-0. It is then that Coach Carter sees his players' progress reports, and he calls a team meeting. He tells them that some of them are not living up to the agreement regarding their GPA. He shuts down the season. He locks the gym, cancels practices and games, and tells the players that they are to report to the library until they all meet the agreed-upon GPA. The players, parents, and community become very upset and go to the Board of Education. The board decides to overturn the coach's decision and restarts the season. Coach Carter resigns because he feels that that is the wrong message to send to the players. He then goes to the gym and sees his locks on the floor. He doesn't hear basketballs bouncing, whistles, or any practice sounds. He looks inside and sees all of his players sitting in desks in the middle of the gym floor with their teachers. He then asks, "What's going on?" One of his players says, "They can cut the chains off of the doors, but they can't make us practice. We are going to honor our commitment." As the coach turns to leave, one of the more troubled players stands and recites the following passage from the author Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not save the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking, so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Coach Carter had been trying to get this message across to his players throughout the movie, a message of confidence and self-respect. The movie only gets better from here, but I won't ruin it for you. But my simple message to our graduates today: don't be afraid to be great. Set your goals, dream your dreams, and don't let anyone knock you off your chosen path. Do not let your fears guide your decisions or hold you back. Don't be afraid to let your inner light shine. Let people know that you are comfortable with who you are and the path to success that you have chosen. And lastly, let your courage, your sense of self, and your commitment to success empower others to follow your lead. To our graduates today, you are leaving middle school, a place that encouraged you to explore new interests and identify your talents. You are now entering high school, an environment that will allow you to cultivate and develop your interests and talents further. Take advantage of this opportunity. These years will set you on the path to becoming well-rounded, positive, productive, and successful members of society. In closing, I would like to congratulate all of you, and I wish you all the very brightest of futures. It is now my honor and privilege to introduce our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Paul Casarico.
Good morning, parents, relatives, Board of Education trustees, Mayor Giordano, Mr. Myers, faculty, and most importantly, to the Waldwick Middle School 8th grade class. Today you've reached a milestone in your education, and this ceremony offers you the opportunity to reflect on what you have accomplished. I would argue that the middle school years are the most difficult in your education. Expectations for performance and behavior have increased dramatically, coupled with increased academic responsibilities. And would argue some of your bigger challenges occurred outside the classroom. So I applaud you not only on your academic gains, but also for all you have achieved socially, emotionally, and personally. And as you move on to high school and beyond, continue to follow your own intuition as opposed to always following the crowd. I recently read an appropriate quote: "The greatest killer of happiness is comparison. If you must compare yourself to you yesterday." So while today serves to highlight your collective and individual achievements, it's also a validation that you are well positioned to face new challenges and push yourself even further. Over the coming weeks, take some time to think about some of the things that you have probably never would have done or experienced, and use this as motivation as you move to high school. The greatest accomplishments will come during those times when you work through a struggle, so opposed to resisting or resenting, seek them out. Moving forward, you will find that you will have even more choices and chances to get involved in new and different activities. Take advantage of these possibilities and continue to explore and move outside your comfort zone. Don't limit yourself to only what you think you can do. Great things await each evening. Again, congratulations to the Waldwick Middle School 8th grade class. I wish you all a wonderful summer and continued success. Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to ask Mrs. Moore to come up and call the roll of graduates.
I will call roll for the Waldwick Middle School graduating class of 2023. Avery Aberzizi. Emma Aberzizi. Rania Awais Ahmed. Joshua Lorenzo Alvarado. Kaylee Virginia Antoine. Sebastian Aparicio. Naraz Suhail Beg. Sherlyn Noemi Benitez. Aiden James Benjamin. Emma Grace Brazel. Faye Marie Burke. Nicholas Jason Bazzacco. Juliana Lee Campanelli. Jeffrey Candelario. Joseph Paul Carreri. Kimberly Hope Cartus. Matthew Carver. Luke Chernin. Trinity Teresa Cochini Leibowitz. Thomas Conrad. Derek Andrew Consiglio. Haley Grace Coombs. Edward John Casapoli. Noah John Crow. Isabella Cruz. Ben Michael Cunningham. Jason Joseph Daniello. Juliana Isabel Deek. Dylan Michael DeCanio. Ava Marie DeSico. Anthony Joseph DeZago. Michelle Robin Maria Elena Dill. Ashley Deinhart. Ian Royston Dodwell. Gianna Marie Dombey. Alexander Peter Dowling. Nicholas James Dowling. Jane Violet Eitner. Luke Simeon Fairchild. Cooper Harris Fleming. Jennifer Alexandra Flores Rivas. Quinn Andrew Fowler. Ella Grace Fowler Salerno. Jack Ryan Franco. Gianna Grace Fry. Abigail Garcia Ordonez. Emma Giampaglia. Giovanni Giardina. Jayla M. Gomez. Bailey Catherine Gornell. Ethan Gramulia. Johnny Joel Guzman Pletes. Ethan Haro. Emily Hernandez. Ellie Rose Higgins. Shane Highland. Joshua Rosario Isaacs. Thomas Michael Jacobson. Lena Cadioca. Mia June Kelly. Juliana Kreisa. Ashley Landoverdi. Nicolette Faith Landry. Benjamin Parker Lenartz. Lily Ann Luskay. Aiden Patrick Lynch. Grayson McLeod. Julia Grace Madden. Aiden J. Marr. William Vincent Mangler. Natalia Fernanda Marin Pfeiffer. Alexander Marty. Avery Cecilia Martin. James Vincent Martinello. Julian Martinez. Christopher W. Matthey. Elizabeth McGrath. Aiden Michael McNamara. Jaden Medellin. Giancarlo M. Mena. Antonio Paul Michinelli. Madison Minervini. Anna Julia Moran. Yanni Nasirios. Milan Aryutinov Noeno. Allison Luz Palacios. Isabella Brooke Panfili. Aria Pathak. Albert William Paul III. Sarah Kristen Persempieri. Katie Ann Peichel. Caleb Edward Cole Pinto. Antonina Parag. Andrew Robert Plutzer. Mariano G. Quintanilla. Shannon Kathleen Reynolds. Sophia Patricia Rizzo. Anna Klein Rogoff. Anthony Vincenzo Romeo. Maximo Alexander Ronquillo. Gabriela Rosado. Jake Rakowski. Matthew Connor Zabo. Fabiola Vanessa Salazar. Margaret Ann Seifert. Caitlin Ann Spellman. Eamon M. Satara. Kendall Grace Zabo. Aiden James Tenza. Jessica Ann Tenza. Morgan Henry Tice. Madison Elizabeth Tomzak. Matthew J. Tomzak. Daniela Elena Vega. Ava Vernack. Delia Ann Wagnus. Stephanie Michelle Weber. Emma Wilkie. Colin Alexander Williams. Jake Charles Wansowitz. Haley Uke. Luke Xavier Isern. Michael Nicholas Zuisa. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you the graduating class of 2027.